Eugene here with a review on the Ohsama Sentai King-Ohger DX King's Weapon. Yes, friends, so let's go ahead and take it a box. Right here says Ohsama Sentai King-Ohger. Right here says DX King's Weapon. And right here says in English here, King's Weapon. We got a nice shot of Kingu-Ōjā, Tombo-Ohger, Kamakiri-Ohger, Papillon-Ohger, and Hachi-Ohger with their 5 different weapon forms of the King's Weapon. Got a nice shot of the King's Weapon itself here. And this indicates we do have sounds with the King's Weapon. And so here's the top of the box. Here's the bottom of the box. Here's the side of the box. Here's the other side of the box. And here is the back of the box, friends. Pretty much everything I'll be showing you in this review of the King's Weapon. Alright, friends, so the King's Weapon is a secondary shield weapon alongside the OhgerCalibur for the 5 King-Ohgers. The shield mode is its default mode, but it can transform into 5 different weapon forms: the sword mode, gun mode, sickle mode, bow mode, and claw mode. When combined in the sword mode and OhgerCalibur to become its 7th mode, the Naginata mode. So this shield weapon goes along so well with the King's part of this Sentai scene with a hint of bug insect into it. So here's the King's Weapon, and I think this thing looks great in design wise, and the paint looks nice as it has a nice sheen to it. So the King's Weapon, as usual, is bigger in the show as the toy standard is 11 inches long. Now, the top section of the King's Weapon reminds me of a king's crown. But anyway, got the nice gold paint here and here. And this middle part on the tip. And then we got the red for the jewel. We got the nice speckled silver paint right here on the lining of the jewel here. And so anyway, and pretty much this part here of the top section got the nice mechanical details here on both sides here, and that nice speckled silver paint as well. Got the tubes on both sides of the King's Weapon in that typical gray plastic. And then right here we got that nice speckled silver with a shinier black and that nice gold. And then right here in the center we got the nice King-Ohger's emblem in that nice gold, which is a pushable button pretty much to activate the King's Weapon sounds, as well as the final attack sounds, the Ohger shooting and Ohger slash. And that emblem does reminds me of the Goseiger emblem. And so anyway, so pretty much got the same color pattern here with the gold, that shinier black, and that nice speckled silver on the other side of the emblem. On the bottom center of the King's Weapon got that nice speckled silver, and then we got the nice mechanical details right here in a duller black, and then we got more of that shinier black right here. And so anyway, we got the gold here and pretty much with some nice details. Now friends, I'm gonna say this just so you know, my King's Weapon has experienced some paint chipping, and this must have happened when putting it in the box. So I'm gonna get a little closer, but right here is where the paint chipped at. So this is no way the seller's fault. Again, this is not the seller's fault at all. It's pretty much mostly an error flaw on Bandai's part. And so someone else had problems with the sounds making a hissing noise, which this one doesn't have that problem. But be aware of this. So this may or may not happen to you, which this isn't a big deal to me, but I want to give you the heads up here. So, but anyway, so back to the review. We got that nice speckled paint right here in silver here, which looks really nice here. And we got that typical gray plastic in the nice details at the end here. On the back of the King's Weapon in that typical gray plastic, there is your speaker for the sounds. And then here's the handle here, as you can hold it as a gun here. And then right here, there is your gun trigger. And then you can hold the handle like this as a shield. And of course, right here, there is the sword trigger on the side of the handle. And then there is the unlock button for when the OhgerCalibur and King's weapon are combined together. We got the nice details with that gray, that typical gray plastic. And we do have that shinier black plastic also on the back of the King's weapon. So when I shake it, yeah, the buttons aren't locked. So anyway, so here are all the two buttons. So pretty much these little blade pieces do extend out. So when you inch it out, you got to hit the button to have it come out like so. And so the blade pieces are pretty much in that soft rubberish plastic here. But of course they can go up, you know, pretty much upward, or they can go to a 9-degree angle. So anyway, so right here is your battery compartment, which takes 2 LR44 batteries. And of course, this is your on and off switch here. Yeah, that little white pull tab. And so also when you have the button, and pretty much when you do all this, I'm gonna have it closing like this, but when you hit the button, it closes the blade all the way in. And so anyway, so here is a back view of the King's weapon here, pretty much the top section, which does look like jet boosters, but you know, which are really, really nice looking and everything. And then here is the barrel here for the gun mode. You can see there is the inside. I'm hoping you can see this with my lighting here, but whenever I'm hitting the buttons, you can see that little piece moving. But anyway, so overall, this King's weapon looks really, really cool here. And then here's another other side view of the King's weapon. And then real quickly, and there's the other side when you open up the blade. So now the different weapon forms of the King's weapon. And friends, this reminds me of the mechanical blade Kiba from Senju Sentai Giga Man and Q the weapon from Uchu Sentai Q-Ranger. So again, the shield mode is the default mode of the King's weapon. So here we go with the sword mode. So pretty much we just unlock both blade pieces and pretty much have them go all the way upward like so. And so here is the sword mode, primarily used by Kingu-Ōjā. Now the gun mode, so pretty much have both blade pieces back in like so, and pretty much going back to the shield mode. And so here is the gun mode, primarily used by Kingu-Ōjā. The sickle mode have the right side blade piece at a 9 degrees out. And so here is the sickle mode, which is primarily used by Kingu-Ōjā. Now the bow mode have the other side of the blade piece at a 9 degrees out. And so here is the bow mode, which is primarily used by Kingu-Ōjā. And lastly, friends, the claw mode. We'll go ahead and pretty much bring both blade pieces down, but not all the way. And so that's pretty much all you have to do. And so here is the claw mode, which is primarily used by Kingu-Ōjā. And so anyway, and pretty much all you gotta do now is just they close back in when you hit those buttons. And so overall, friends, I totally dig the King's weapon, mostly in the show, but this is decent, and the 5 different weapon forms of the 5 King-Ōjās are cool, as I strongly prefer the sword mode, gun mode, and bow mode in the toy standard. Now let's do the sounds of the King's weapon. So let's go ahead and pull this little white pull tab. And so all we gotta do now is pretty much hit the King-Ōjā emblem button. So here we go.
Weapon.
So the name of the weapon. And friends, if you let it sit for over a minute, it'll reset itself. So now let's put it into the bow mode here. And we'll go ahead and do the firing noises. So here we go. Standard firing noises. And so if you hold the trigger, a charging attack sounds. So I'm going to hold it for a little while. And I'm going to go ahead and release it. Wow, 5 shots. So I guess that's what happens when you hold it that long. So that was definitely 5. And so now I'm going to go ahead and do the gun finisher here by hitting the emblem here. So here we go. That nice standing by Eugene. So let's hit the trigger. So let's do it again one more time. And we'll hit the trigger. And so that's pretty much it. I mean, we could do some more firing noises here. But anyway, so that's mostly for the gun mode and bow mode that has the shooting sounds. Now let's put it into the sword mode here to do the sword attack sounds. And so pretty much here, you just hit this button here, the sword attack trigger sound. So here we go. Which has 3 different sounds. So here's what happens when we hold the trigger for some charging attack sounds. And if you hold it for a little while here. And so here we go. Wow, it releases a lot of clashing, slashing sounds. So it just does a number of clashing sounds depending how long you hold it. I mean, you can do it one time. So now let's go ahead and do the King's Weapon sword finisher by hitting the emblem. That nice Eugene. So let's hit the trigger. And so let's do it again. And so we hit the sword trigger. And that's mostly it. So we're back to this. And mostly the slashing sounds are for the sword mode, sickle mode, and claw mode. So the King's Weapon does have a feature with the OhgerCalibur known as its 7th mode, the Naginata mode, and was primarily used by Kingu-Ōjā as the handle of the OhgerCalibur has the push-in buttons. And so anyway, the handle will slide into the barrel of the King's Weapon. So of course, make sure the King's Weapon is still in its sword mode. So pretty much it'll just snap right on in like so. And so a nice little snap in and everything. And so here it is in its Naginata mode. And like I said, you know, as you can see, we have the 2 blades on each end. Looks nice. And pretty much, friends, these sounds do not change between the 2. So yeah, doesn't really change and everything, but pretty much And you can pretty much see this is pretty long here. I mean, pretty much using the length of the OhgerCalibur and the King's weapon combined, making it roughly 32 inches long. So yeah, pretty long here, but I like it, and it's a neat combo here with the two, and I love what it does in the show. So anyway, and so lastly, we'll just go ahead and detach the two. So you hit these buttons here, and pretty much hitting the unlock button, and they release. Well, friends, final thoughts. So I mostly prefer the King's weapon and the different weapon forms in the show, but I'll rate them okay in the toy standard. And the sounds are fun with the Ohger slash and Ohger shooting. And I do like the feature the King's weapon has with the OhgerCalibur as a Naginata weapon. So if you have the OhgerCalibur, you have to pick this up. And you got two ways to getting this. So yes, friends, yes, I so 100% recommend this. And of course, I so recommend this amazing King-Ohger toy line as well. This is a lot of fun so far. And of course, we got more coming. And so, like I said, if you have the OhgerCalibur, definitely go pick this up. And so anyway, friends, well, that is it, friends. And so please check out my blog. So make sure, friends, you hit that bell on the video. And of course, my friends, this review on the Ohsama Sentai King-Ohger DX King's Weapon. I hope you enjoy. Well, my friends, I'm Eugene. I'm signing good day. And my friends, I most assuredly see you next time. Bye, friends.